The rise of Barack Obama was nothing short of extraordinary. A young man with a mixed heritage raised between Hawaii and Indonesia, stepping onto the world stage and making history as the first African-American president of the United States. But was it just ambition and talent that got him there, or was there something more? Something carefully crafted behind the scenes? Obama's journey began in the streets of Chicago, where he worked as a community organizer. To the outside world, he was a man of the people, walking through working-class neighborhoods, shaking hands, listening to the struggles of everyday Americans. But behind closed doors, he was studying. Not just policies and law, but the art of public perception. From an early age, Obama seemed to understand something that most politicians struggle with. Image is everything. His rise wasn't just about policies or speeches. It was about becoming the perfect candidate. He knew how to present himself, how to appeal to different groups, and how to shift his message depending on who was listening. He wasn't just a politician. He was a brand in the making. By the time he entered national politics, he had already reinvented himself multiple times. Gone was the free-spirited young man who wrote poetic letters to his college girlfriends about philosophy and self-discovery. The Obama that America saw was polished, disciplined, and ready for the spotlight. His 2004 Democratic National Convention speech catapulted him onto the national stage, making it clear that he wasn't just another senator. He was a future president in the making. When he announced his candidacy for president in 2007, the political establishment was skeptical. A first-term senator, running against heavyweights like Hillary Clinton? It seemed impossible, but Obama understood something that his opponents didn't. He wasn't just running a campaign, he was telling a story. And it was a story that Americans desperately wanted to believe. The young outsider, the fresh face, the symbol of unity in a divided nation. Yes, we can wasn't just a slogan, it was a movement. And millions of people bought into it, turning his campaign into an unstoppable force. Then came the presidency. In 2009, he stepped into the White House with sky-high approval ratings, promising hope and change. He was going to fix the economy, bring healthcare to millions, and restore America's standing in the world. But what happens when a symbol of perfection is forced to govern in an imperfect system? The reality hit hard. The economy was in free fall, 2 wars were still raging, and the political climate was more toxic than ever. The same media that once adored him began to turn. Every decision was scrutinized, every policy questioned. The very people who had placed him on a pedestal now expected miracles. And when those miracles didn't come overnight, the cracks began to show. The financial crisis had left the country reeling, and Obama's solution? A massive government bailout, which, depending on who you asked, either saved the economy or sold out the American people to Wall Street. His signature achievement, the Affordable Care Act, promised health care for millions, but the rollout was a disaster. Technical failures, broken promises, and skyrocketing premiums left many questioning if Obamacare was really the solution they had hoped for. And then there was the political war. His presidency became a battlefield, not just between Democrats and Republicans, but within his own party. Progressives wanted him to go further: free health care, stronger reforms, bold action. Moderates urged caution. Meanwhile, the opposition was hell-bent on making him a one-term president. Through it all, Obama remained cool and collected, at least in public. But behind the scenes, insiders say he was growing increasingly frustrated. He had spent his career crafting an image of unity and progress, yet here he was, stuck in the same gridlocked system that had plagued Washington for decades. By the time he faced re-election in 2012, the magic of 2008 was gone. The excitement had faded. The reality had set in. But despite the controversies, the setbacks, and the growing disillusionment, Obama pulled off a second victory, defeating Mitt Romney and securing another 4 years in office. The second term brought new challenges: scandals, foreign policy crises, and the rise of political extremism tested his leadership. The NSA surveillance revelations rocked the nation, exposing a level of government spying that many found deeply disturbing. His administration's use of drone strikes raised ethical questions. And then, of course, there was the rise of Donald Trump, a political force that threatened to unravel everything Obama had built. As his presidency came to an end in 2017, Obama left office with a complicated legacy. To some, he was a visionary leader, a man who changed the face of American politics forever. To others, he was a disappointment, a president who promised the world but delivered too little, too late. But what if Obama's real story isn't just about politics? What if the true legacy of Barack Obama isn't just about what he did in office, but about who he really is behind the scenes? Because as much as we talk about his policies, his speeches, and his leadership, there's another side to the Obama story. One that's been whispered about, speculated on, but never fully uncovered. The marriage, the past relationships, the personal sacrifices, the questions that linger. Did he and Michelle struggle more than they let on? Were their secrets hidden beneath the polished public image? And most importantly, has the real Obama been carefully constructed from the very beginning? One thing is for sure, the story of Barack Obama is far from over. The story of Barack and Michelle Obama has been painted as a modern-day fairy tale. Two ambitious, brilliant individuals who found each other, built a life together, and stood side by side as they made history. But like any marriage, theirs wasn't without struggle. And the real question is, just how deep did those struggles go? Michelle Obama has never been one to sugarcoat things. She has openly admitted that for a good 10 years, their marriage was anything but perfect. They were raising two young daughters while Barack's political career was taking off. He was gone constantly, always in meetings, traveling, giving speeches. Michelle, on the other hand, was left to juggle work, motherhood, and the increasing weight of being a politician's wife. It wasn't the picture-perfect romance that people imagined. It was stress, exhaustion, and at times, loneliness. For a decade, the balance wasn't there. Barack was hyper-focused on his career, convinced that he was working for a bigger purpose. But at what cost? Michelle has spoken about the resentment that built up, how the uneven division of responsibilities led to real tension. There were nights when they barely spoke, moments when the exhaustion turned into genuine frustration. And the worst part? None of it was visible to the public. By the time Barack was making his move toward the presidency, their marriage had already been through the ringer. But instead of falling apart, they did something that many powerful couples avoid. They went to marriage counseling. And according to Michelle, that was the turning point. It forced them to communicate, to face the problems they had been ignoring, to stop pretending that everything was fine just because the world expected them to be the perfect couple. But even though counseling helped, it didn't erase the fact that Barack Obama was no ordinary husband. He wasn't just a man with a demanding job. He was a rising political star. And with that came sacrifices that most couples never have to make. Fast forward to their time in the White House, and the pressure only grew. Barack was now the most powerful man in the world, and Michelle was expected to play the role of the supportive First Lady. Every move they made was scrutinized, every public appearance analyzed. Did they hold hands? Did they smile at each other? Did Michelle look happy? To the world, they were a symbol of strength, love, and unity. But behind closed doors, there were still cracks. The pressure of raising two daughters under the watchful eyes of the world, the constant media attention, the expectations to always be on. The White House is not an easy place to keep a marriage alive, and for many, it has been the breaking point. But Michelle and Barack endured. They raised their daughters, fulfilled their duties, and left the White House still together. But the question remains, did they truly fix their marriage, or did they simply become better at managing it in the public eye? That's where the speculation begins. Over the years, rumors have surfaced suggesting that Michelle and Barack are not as close as they seem. Some claim that after leaving office, they started spending more time apart. Others have pointed out that Michelle has been missing from key events, skipping major political functions, appearing alone at public engagements. And then there was the birthday post. Barack, known for his warm and deeply personal messages to Michelle on social media, posted something that left people wondering. Instead of his usual heartfelt tribute, the message was formal, distant. The photo he chose? Some said it looked cold, impersonal. And Michelle's response, or lack of one, only added fuel to the fire. Could this be a sign that something is wrong? Or are people reading too much into it? After all, couples grow and change. Their daughters are adults now. They are no longer the Obamas of the White House. They are private citizens, free to live on their own terms. But if that's the case, why do the rumors keep growing? Some sources claim that they have been living separately for months. Others suggest that they are waiting for the right moment to announce a split, perhaps after the next election, to avoid the political fallout. And then there's the biggest question of all. Would they even be able to divorce without damaging their carefully built legacy? For years, Barack and Michelle Obama have been more than just a couple. They have been a brand. They have represented Black excellence, power, success, and stability. Their relationship has been held up as an example, not just in America, but around the world. If they were to separate, what would that do to their image? Some believe that staying together isn't just about love, it's about strategy. That after years of crafting the perfect public perception, they can't afford to let it fall apart now. But there's another possibility, one that might be even more interesting. What if Michelle Obama is preparing for her own political future? For years, people have speculated that Michelle could follow in Hillary Clinton's footsteps, going from First Lady to political leader. She has the intelligence, the influence, and the popularity. Some polls even suggest that if she ran for president, she would win by a landslide. So, if Michelle is considering stepping into politics, could a separation from Barack complicate things? Would it weaken her influence? Would it hurt the Obama brand? Or could it actually make her more relatable, a woman who put herself first after years of sacrifice? Right now, no one knows for sure. But what's clear is that the world is watching. The Obamas have spent decades building their public image, controlling the narrative, and maintaining a level of privacy that very few public figures achieve. But can they continue to control the story forever? Or is the truth about their marriage finally starting to slip through the cracks? One thing is certain: their love story, whether real or carefully maintained, is far from over. And as whispers grow louder and rumors refuse to die down, the question remains: how much longer can the Obamas keep the world believing in their fairy tale? Before Barack Obama became a household name, before his presidency and global recognition, he was a young man navigating relationships, personal growth, and ambition. His journey to becoming a public figure was not just shaped by his career, but also by the individuals who played significant roles in his early life. While much attention has been given to his marriage with Michelle Obama, his previous relationships have largely remained out of the public eye. However, those who knew him before his political ascent have offered insight into the experiences and influences that shaped his identity. Among the most notable figures in his early romantic life was Alex McNear, whom he met during his time at Occidental College. Their relationship was built on intellectual exchange, with much of their connection captured through letters discussing philosophy, race, and politics. Even at a young age, Obama displayed a depth of thought and a keen interest in societal structures. However, despite their strong emotional and intellectual bond, their relationship did not last. They eventually parted ways as Obama transferred to Columbia University to continue his studies, setting him on a path toward an increasingly defined political future. Following his move to New York, Obama became involved with Genevieve Cook, the daughter of an Australian diplomat. Their relationship, which began in the mid-1980s, was more intimate and introspective. Cook later described Obama as a highly reflective individual, someone deeply engaged in questions of identity and purpose. Her diary entries from that period provide a glimpse into his mindset: thoughtful, ambitious, yet somewhat emotionally reserved. While their relationship was meaningful, it ultimately came to an end, reflecting a recurring theme in Obama's personal life at the time. A man focused on self-discovery and future aspirations, sometimes at the expense of emotional permanence. Perhaps the most significant of his past relationships, however, was with Sheila Miyoshi Jaeger, a woman who not only shared a deep personal connection with Obama, but also witnessed his transformation into the man the world would later come to know. Their relationship spanned several years while he was working as a community organizer in Chicago. According to those familiar with their time together, they were deeply involved, to the extent that Obama proposed marriage. Initially, her family expressed concerns, and later Jaeger herself declined a second proposal, citing the growing realization that Obama's ambitions were reshaping his priorities. Jaeger's perspective on Obama's personal evolution is particularly revealing. She observed how he transitioned from a young man exploring various aspects of his identity to someone with an increasingly sharp focus on a political career. Having grown up in a multicultural environment, Obama had friendships and relationships with individuals from diverse backgrounds. However, as he became more involved in Chicago's political scene, he started to align himself more closely with Black political and cultural spaces. Yeager noted that this period marked a shift in how he presented himself, not just socially, but in his broader ambitions. His engagement in community organizing and political activism required him to cultivate relationships that would later prove instrumental in his career. This transition raises important considerations about the extent to which Obama's personal and professional choices were shaped by strategy. While it is natural for individuals to evolve over time, particularly when pursuing leadership roles, his deliberate moves during this period suggest a level of foresight that extended beyond personal growth. His relationship with Yeager, though significant, ultimately did not align with the trajectory he was carving for himself. Shortly after their split, he left for Harvard Law School, a pivotal step in his journey toward political prominence. The limited public discussion about these relationships has led to speculation about why certain aspects of Obama's past were not widely acknowledged. Some argue that these stories did not fit within the broader narrative presented during his presidential campaigns. A narrative centered on a clear, structured rise to leadership, culminating in his marriage to Michelle. While it is common for public figures to maintain privacy regarding their personal history, the lack of visibility surrounding these early relationships raises questions about how much of his story was intentionally curated for public consumption. Beyond the speculation, what remains clear is that these relationships provided insight into Obama's character during his formative years. They highlight the complexities of a young man who was not only introspective and intelligent, but also deeply ambitious. His past partners saw a version of him that was still shaping itself, an individual who was refining his vision for the future while grappling with the realities of personal and professional commitments. It is also evident that despite the ending of these relationships, they contributed to the person he became. His ability to communicate, connect with people from different backgrounds, and adapt to various social and political landscapes was honed during these years. These qualities later became essential to his political success, allowing him to appeal to a broad spectrum of voters and establish himself as a leader capable of uniting different groups. While much of the public focus remains on Obama's years in the White House and his relationship with Michelle, the influence of his earlier experiences should not be overlooked. They offer a deeper understanding of the motivations, decisions, and transformations that shaped his journey. His past relationships were not just fleeting chapters, but integral parts of a longer narrative, one that saw him evolve from an idealistic young man into a calculated and determined political figure. As history continues to examine Obama's life and career, there will likely be a growing interest in these lesser-known aspects of his personal history. The nuances of his early relationships provide context for the leader he became, illustrating the complexity of a man who was not only driven by ambition, but also shaped by the people he encountered along the way. Whether these past influences are acknowledged in broader discussions of his legacy remains to be seen, but their role in shaping his trajectory is undeniable. Public figures often find themselves under intense scrutiny, and for years Barack and Michelle Obama have been at the center of admiration and speculation. Their relationship has been viewed as a model of strength, unity, and stability, embodying the ideal partnership in the eyes of many. However, as time has passed, increasing attention has been placed on the more private aspects of their marriage, with growing speculation about whether the image they project aligns with their current reality. For much of their public life, the Obamas have presented a carefully curated image of mutual support and respect. Their time in the White House was marked by public displays of affection, coordinated initiatives, and an unwavering sense of partnership. Michelle played a crucial role in complementing Barack's presidency, leading health and education initiatives and using her influence to advocate for meaningful social change. Their daughters, Sasha and Malia, were raised under the relentless gaze of the public, yet their parents managed to shield them from the harsher elements of political life, ensuring that their family remained a symbol of success and stability. Despite this outward appearance, Michelle Obama has been candid about the difficulties they faced, particularly during Barack's political rise. In her memoir, she described periods of strain in their marriage, noting that there were years when they struggled to find balance. The relentless demands of Barack's career, his frequent absences, and the immense responsibility Michelle carried in managing their household created significant tension. While the couple sought professional help and made efforts to work through these challenges, such struggles highlight the complexities that exist even in the most admired relationships. In the years following their departure from the White House, subtle changes in their public interactions have fueled speculation about the nature of their marriage today. Observers have pointed out that Michelle has been noticeably absent from certain high-profile events, while Barack has been seen attending functions alone. Their social media interactions, once filled with heartfelt messages and shared moments, have shifted in tone, with some noting a more formal and distant approach. A particularly scrutinized moment occurred when Barack posted a birthday message to Michelle that lacked the warmth and intimacy of previous years. While such changes may simply reflect the natural evolution of a long-term relationship, they have nonetheless led to widespread discussion. Speculation has also arisen regarding the possibility that the Obamas have chosen to lead increasingly independent lives. Some reports suggest that they may be spending extended periods apart, maintaining separate residences while continuing to present a united front in public. While there is no official confirmation of these claims, the persistence of these rumors raises questions about the level of truth behind them. Adding complexity to the discussion is the broader context in which the Obamas exist. As two of the most influential figures in modern American history, they have built a brand that extends far beyond politics. Their post-presidency work has included media production, public speaking engagements, and philanthropic initiatives, all of which require careful management of their public image. Any significant shift in their relationship status would inevitably have far-reaching consequences, both personally and professionally. Furthermore, there is ongoing speculation regarding Michelle Obama's future in politics. While she has repeatedly denied any interest in running for office, her continued influence in public life has led many to believe that a political career remains a possibility. Should she decide to enter the political arena, the stability of her marriage would undoubtedly be a factor in how she is perceived by the public. A high-profile separation or divorce could serve as a distraction, potentially shifting the focus away from her policy positions and leadership qualities. Beyond the political implications, the Obamas' relationship is deeply intertwined with their cultural significance. They have long been seen as an aspirational couple, representing Black excellence, resilience, and success. Their ability to navigate the challenges of public life while maintaining a strong partnership has been a source of inspiration for many. If their marriage were to undergo significant changes, it could alter the way they are perceived, not just as individuals, but as a collective symbol of progress and unity. At the same time, it is important to acknowledge that relationships evolve, particularly under the unique pressures that come with global recognition and influence. The demands placed on both Barack and Michelle Obama extend far beyond those of a typical couple. The expectations that they continue to represent an idealized version of marriage may not fully align with the realities of their lives today. While speculation will undoubtedly persist, the true nature of their relationship remains known only to them. The choices they make, whether in their personal or professional lives, will continue to shape their legacy. Regardless of what the future holds, their impact on American history is undeniable. Their story is one of ambition, dedication, and transformation, and it will continue to evolve in the public eye. Ultimately, the ongoing fascination with their marriage speaks to the powerful role they have played in shaping contemporary culture. As figures of influence, their personal lives will always be subject to analysis and interpretation. Yet beyond the rumors and assumptions, they remain two individuals who have achieved extraordinary milestones, leaving an indelible mark on history. Whether together or apart, their influence will endure, shaping the narrative of leadership, resilience, and change for years to come. Barack Obama's story is one of transformation, perseverance, and political strategy. Rising from a mixed-race background and a childhood spent between Hawaii and Indonesia, he built a career that would lead him to the highest office in the United States. His presidency was historic, marked by significant policy achievements, cultural influence, and a level of charisma rarely seen in modern politics. However, legacies are complex, and as time passes, They are often reassessed through a different lens. What once seemed unshakable can shift under the weight of scrutiny, and the case of Barack Obama is no exception. His administration brought notable advancements, particularly in healthcare, economic recovery, and international diplomacy. The Affordable Care Act expanded coverage to millions of Americans, while his handling of the 2008 financial crisis helped stabilize the economy. His foreign policy accomplishments included the killing of Osama bin Laden, the nuclear deal with Iran, and a renewed focus on diplomatic engagement. For many, Obama represented not just a president, but a symbol of change, unity, and progress. However, even the most celebrated leaders face criticism, and Obama's presidency was not without controversy. While his election signified racial progress, his administration also faced resistance at every turn. The hyper-partisan political environment led to constant battles with Congress, government shutdowns, and an inability to pass sweeping reforms beyond healthcare. His economic policies, while stabilizing the market, did little to curb growing income inequality, leading some to argue that his administration did not go far enough in addressing systemic economic disparities. One of the most debated aspects of his presidency remains his approach to transparency and civil liberties. Although he vowed to run the most open administration in U.S. history, his tenure saw an unprecedented crackdown on whistleblowers. Under the Espionage Act, his administration prosecuted more individuals for leaking classified information than all previous administrations combined. The revelations from Edward Snowden further complicated his legacy, exposing widespread government surveillance and raising questions about the balance between national security and individual privacy. On foreign policy, his reliance on drone strikes marked a significant shift in modern warfare. The use of targeted drone attacks was expanded under his leadership, eliminating high-profile terrorist threats, but also raising ethical concerns due to civilian casualties. While his administration maintained that these actions were necessary for national security, critics argued that they set a dangerous precedent, blurring the lines between combat and extrajudicial killings. Beyond policy, Obama was a cultural figure unlike any other modern president. His speeches, demeanor, and ability to connect with people worldwide solidified his influence beyond politics. His presence in the White House, alongside Michelle Obama, reshaped the image of American leadership, particularly for Black Americans. Their family became a symbol of success, grace, and aspiration, carefully maintaining an image that resonated globally. Yet, in the years since leaving office, aspects of this carefully curated image have begun to face increased scrutiny. While he remains one of the most admired figures in American politics, questions about his personal life, particularly his marriage, have surfaced with greater intensity. The Obamas were once seen as the perfect couple, balancing ambition and family life with ease. However, recent years have seen speculation that their relationship has evolved in ways the public was never meant to see. Michelle Obama has openly discussed the struggles in their marriage, particularly during the early years of Barack's political rise. She acknowledged that for a significant period, she felt overwhelmed with the responsibilities of raising their children while her husband was away, fully immersed in his career. While counseling helped them navigate these challenges, the pressure of public life did not fade. With their daughters now grown and their time in the White House behind them, there has been increasing speculation about whether the dynamic of their marriage has changed. Michelle's absence from key events, Barack's increasingly independent public appearances, and the seemingly distant nature of their social media interactions have fueled rumors that they are leading separate lives. Some suggest that they are maintaining a public front for strategic reasons, ensuring that any personal struggles do not overshadow their professional legacies. Adding to the intrigue are the whispers of Michelle Obama's potential political future. While she has repeatedly stated that she has no interest in running for office, her continued involvement in public advocacy and her enduring popularity make the possibility a topic of discussion. If she were to step into the political arena, the stability of her marriage would likely play a crucial role in how she is perceived. A separation or divorce, while a personal matter, could become a point of contention, potentially impacting her influence and public image. Meanwhile, Barack Obama's post-presidency years have been marked by a shift toward media, activism, and philanthropy. Through his foundation and production company, he has remained a guiding voice on key social and political issues. However, as with all former presidents, the further he moves from his time in office, the more his legacy is subject to revaluation. Historical legacies are rarely static. Time often reshapes the way figures are remembered, revealing aspects that may have been overlooked or misunderstood during their tenure. The conversations surrounding Obama's presidency, marriage, and post-political life are a testament to this evolving narrative. While he remains widely respected, the ongoing speculation about his personal life demonstrates that public perception is always shifting. Ultimately, Barack Obama's impact on American politics and culture is undeniable. His presidency broke barriers, inspired millions, and set new expectations for leadership in the modern era. However, as history continues to unfold, the broader picture of his legacy will be shaped not just by policy achievements, but by the intricate details of his personal and public life. How he chooses to navigate this next phase will determine whether his carefully constructed image remains intact or if the cracks in the facade become a defining part of his story.